Hey guys, so today I'm going to be replacing the, I'm going to be putting in a carburetor kit in this carburetor, and we're going to go through the steps on how to do that. So first off, you're going to want to shut off the gas because you're going to take off this hose, and there's going to be a little bit of extra gas in there probably, so put that in the gas can. And then we're going to take off this hose clamp right here that goes to the air box, and then we're going to take off two 10mm nuts on the posts off the carburetor. This is a 96 4x4 Timberwolf 250. The reason why I'm putting the carb rebuild kit in is because the float and seat are bad and it leaks gas really bad. That's why I've got this rag underneath here. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get back to you. Okay guys, back here. Okay, so as you can see, I got the air box hose off. Drained the gas that was left in this hose, have the gas off. Took the two bolts, 10mm bolts off the end of the post on the boot here. And now next we're going to have to unscrew the throttle cable. And then this is a 12mm, this is the choke cable. And that'll just unscrew and you'll pop that out. And that'll unscrew and you'll carefully slide that out. You don't want to bust the needle or anything. And then we'll get back to you. Alright. Okay, so now I've got the throttle cable off with the little washer. They don't want to lose any of that, so be careful. And then I've also got the choke cable off, and it was not a 12mm, it was actually a 14mm. So they vary on different machines that have this plunger type carb choke. So now we've got this here, and we're going to have to go drain the rest of the gas that's in the float bowl. So go tip it upside down and it'll come out the drain. And then we'll get back to you. Okay guys, so now we got it drained. No more gas left in the bowl. Now there's 4 screws here, Phillips. You want to get the right size because these strip out very easily, and most of the time they're stuck and they're really good. So do not strip them out because then you'll have bigger problems than just rebuilding a carburetor. So take those out, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so I got the bowl off. It's not too dirty because I already cleaned it once thinking that I could just clean it and it'd fix, but it didn't. So anyways, next step, you can take this off, put it aside. You can take out this pin right here, put it aside. Take off that, and the needle will come underneath with that tab on the float. And then you'll want to get a flathead, take out that jet, take out that jet, take out that screw. And then you're going to want to take off that plate on this carburetor too. So I'll do that and I'll get back to you. Alright, so I took out all the jets. The main jet, the idle, and then the screw with the spring. You don't want to lose any of this stuff. I also took out the seat already. It just, on this one, it was pretty easy. I just pulled it out. After you take off that plate, that's why you had to take off that plate, because it holds it in there. And this is my main problem, why my gas is leaking everywhere. So it looks pretty clean. There's also another little part in there that's the needle sits in. I don't know if I'm going to change that. If it's easy to get out, I will. So now that I have all these out, you'll want to keep track of the springs and stuff. I bought a kit that has everything, even the spring for the choke plunger, and I got the spring for all this and the new seals and everything for it, new needle. So I got a good kit. I'll show you my kit now. My kit it's a Shindy kit, Shindy, made in Japan. They're really good. I like them a lot. I use them all the time. So my kit comes with a gasket, seal, needle, everything to rebuild it, even that's for a different that's the adjuster, but new springs, more seals. This stuff's for the throttle. This is my new needle and seat, my main part that I needed. So yeah, I'll start putting some stuff in. Just remove, like, this is the needle part that I was talking about that I don't know if I'll remove yet, but if it's easy I will. So I'll look into it. Alright, So now I took off the spring and the slide and the needle off the throttle cable. And here's the slide. All you need to do is just pull up the spring on the throttle cable enough that you can get enough slack on the cable, and then it pops out of that little hole right there. And then you'll bring it up and slide it up through that hole, and then it'll come out of the slide. This is at the very top of the screw part that screws onto the carburetor. It's a gasket. Got that. I realized that this kit did not come with all the new jets right here, and so all we have to do is put a bolt on there, and then the flathead on there, and then the top part will unscrew, and I'll just replace that. Not that big of a deal. I am going to be replacing the needle, and to take out the needle, it sits down in the slide like this with that little washer, and then the clip is in the middle. That's always a good place to start, and so that's where I'm going to put it on this one, and then it just holds in here, and you take the flathead and you slide it up. It's easy to get off. So yeah, I'll be replacing all that stuff in the throttle cable too. I'll get back to you after I put some more jets in and stuff. Little update here. So I put this screw on with the new spring. On here you screw it all the way in, and then it was set to 5.5 turns out, or well, about 5 half turns. So going like this, I counted 1. So I replaced all the jets in here. I did end up replacing the place where the needle sits in there. All I did was just put a screwdriver in on the top here and hammered it down, and it fell out the end here. I put the new seat in. Now I got to put that plate back on and take the new needle and put that on the float. I will be replacing both O-rings on the choke plunger. I've already got that one replaced. It just slips off there. It's pretty simple. And then the O-ring on the on the throttle cable. So that's where I'm at. I'll do another update here. Got the float and the needle in the seat, and I put that metal plate back on with that one screw. Seems like it's gonna work great. So and I put the throttle cable back together. It's really hard because the spring is really compressed, but you gotta compress it, and I hold it with the pliers. Try not to cut the throttle cable, then you'll need a new one. And then I slipped it in there, and it works great. So now I'm gonna put this and the spring and then the plunger back on the choke cable, and put the bottom of the bowl back on the carburetor, and it should be able to bolt on. Well, last update here for the carburetor. Just gotta tighten up these 10mm bolts on each side and put the boot on and clamp her down. I got all the hoses hooked back up, and well, I'm sure it'll work. So this will be the last update.